Good afternoon. It is a nice warm day down here in Southwest Florida. So yesterday I did a little post on succession training. It always seems to be a hot topic when a bunch of firemen get together on either a lack thereof or something that they always want to see happen within their departments. And really I see there's two types of succession training. There's formal and informal. So formal is going to be in department programs. Maybe some larger agencies might be common, even smaller ones are starting to get it. But that's where, hey, to get promoted, you got to go through this program. It's 40 hours, 1 day, 2 days, and sometimes it's mandatory. Sometimes you're just there to learn. But I guess that's the formal part. And I think that's what everyone wants, is a formal part. But what we don't realize is we all have an informal succession training going on with all our departments. And we don't have any formal in my agency. We're working on that. But really, the informal is what we have right now and what a lot of places do. So what's the informal? Informal is you lead by example. If you're the engineer, it's the firefighter seeing what you do. If you're the captain, it's the engineer watching what the captain does. It's the captain watching what the BC does, the battalion chief watching what the division chiefs do. To the deputy chief, to the fire chief. People may not like that as a training, but that is one that exists no matter where you are, is what you're leading by example with your actions and how you run it. The other part of informal would be when it's up to the individual to go out and get their own training, and that can do well with self-motivated people, but you're not going to get everyone. So how do you seek it yourself? It could be books, learning from other people, getting insight from some of the greatest minds out there and learning what they had. Because if you're not out there obtaining the information, then all you know is what either your parents taught you or a few officers that you had taught you. Conferences, it's another way you get around a bunch of people and kind of pick their brains on what's the best practices. Because maybe their agency had a formal program and there's just someone there to share with you. A lot of places, like I said, some have informal versus informal, and something I came across, which I guess would be informal, is intent-based leadership, which I talked about it in Turn Your Ship Around, and I use it in my firehouse, and I really didn't start realizing that it was actually succession training until recently. I had it occur before where I was using something called the ladder leadership on it, and there's more explained in the book or in the class. I put a link to it in the group. But I had to work with an individual on his acting officer, and I realized by following that template, we already did a bunch of this stuff. And then recently I'm working with another guy, and when I started looking at the book of everything you have to complete to sign them off, I realized that, once again, a lot of that stuff we've already done. Maybe some of the paperwork and formal computer work we haven't, but a lot of the daily actions of putting on trainings, being a leader around the station is already in the works. So that's kind of why I want to do this about succession training. It's a simple program, the intent-based leadership, and utilizing their ladder of leadership to kind of guide you through it, to where you can actually start the process to this way. The guys kind of hit the ground running. There's not a lot of guesswork to it, and if you're doing that every day, then everyone's kind of evolving. And while I don't know if how this works at a higher level where you're not around your crew all the time, let's say coming from a deputy chief spot or division chief spot, I think it's a work in progress. So if any of you are in those positions and you start utilizing it, I think it's a step in the right direction. Once you get the ladder leadership, all it is using your words to get people to solve their own problems and make those decisions. And what they're doing is they're coming to you, instead of coming and saying, hey, this is the issue we got, they're going to say, hey, this is the issue we got, this is what I think we should do, this is what I want to do. And that kind of keeps everything so it's not one decision maker. You got everyone involved with that. So kind of share with you formal, informal succession planning at temp-based leadership. I'll see if you got any questions. I think we're good to go. You guys are liking everything. Literally 3 of these guys are on my crew that are liking everything, so I think I rigged this. Hey, we'll talk more about it later, but in the meantime, I just want to share this with you guys. And for those of you on the call, I'll see you guys Saturday. And everyone else, talk to you later, guys.